Welcome back to Let's Design Factorio. I have a lot of experimenting to do with some new ideas, and I also have to finish some unfinished business with my foundries because I never actually put in the low density structures, the concrete and the pipes and the underground pipes in this build. So I'm going to have to try to find a good way to fit those in. So let's get going with that. You know, it's a little weird, but if you insert sideways into a splitter, every second one goes in either lane, right? Effectively, what this does is it allows you to use an inserter to put product evenly into both lanes of a belt, which is honestly something I never thought possible in vanilla Factorio. It takes up a little extra space. It's a little awkward and uses extra resources for the splitter, but it technically works. I mean, if you really need it, I'll have to keep that in mind. Yeah. Not necessary here, though. I mean, this is just as good. This is probably even better, technically, for this setup, these side-loaded belts. And so the basic idea of this particular line is that we're using both copper and iron molten inputs to produce low density structures. And hang on a second while I get rid of those products. So the plastic comes in from the bottom, and the long inserters put the LDS onto the output belt. It's all fairly low volume because these are slow to build. So that's probably fine. Let's see what happens when I multiply this, though. The question is, how much molten copper and iron does this actually use? Looks like a fair bit, especially copper. The question I have now is, how easy would it be to make an extra wing of iron and copper production? I'm guessing not terribly hard, because I'd have to dispose of an extra belt of stone, but we would produce, enough of that extra metal to supply whatever. And, I could probably find a way to fit it in. As long as I have extra room. See, I think wherever I build this on Vulcanus, it's going to have extra room on the left so that I can expand in that direction. Well, this is a bit different. So what this one does is this produces pipes. Let's put some modules in here just to get that how it should be. Now, this one in the middle is not going to be running at full speed because if you measure it, you'll see that it's capable of consuming 40 pipes per second. But these together on either side of it only produce 12 per second. So there's a 28 per second deficit. And that's probably okay because I don't think we need underground pipes this quickly because we're still let's measure using this just how fast we're producing them. Yeah, so as you can see, it's stabilized at around, yeah, man, I mean 216 per minute. We don't need 216 pipe to ground per minute, but I'm happy to be able to produce those if I need to, you know, short term. Yeah, it's it's overkill, but there we have it. And now we're going to want to create just your pipes. So let's do that. Really running low on iron. It might be worth making that second iron line after all. I'll think about it. Let's do the concrete. That's the last of these. Alright, so this is going to be a little different because it requires water, and I don't have water anywhere near this setup, so I'm going to have to add a water producer to balance with this. So let's we'll consider that. But I do think that what that means is I'm going to have to come up with something a bit more complex like this setup. See, low density structures per minute is kind of important because that determines how many rockets per minute you can do. So it's 100, well, roughly 100 of these per rocket. So I guess that's 2 rockets a minute with some spare left over. You know, it occurs to me that the ingredient here is bricks, which comes from stone, which we're throwing away. So I'm going to have to route some of that over here to smelt into bricks. Oh, wow. Okay, it uses a lot more than I thought. All right, so I think I have the correct number of stone brick makers. So we're smelting stone into brick at a rate that all of these could go full time. Not that I expect it to go full time, but you know, we're future proofing, so I want it to be able to. I have to hook up the water still, and I have to align it with the molten iron, and I also have to make sure that the output, the concrete, can be processed into refined concrete as needed. I'm not so sure about copper, but definitely iron. We're gonna have to do something to increase the iron. Let's get that done now. So what we'll do for that is we'll cut this. All right, that's super tight. That is truly super tight. So we've got calcite coming in here, and it's going down this way on our red belt. It's getting split off here and going up this way, and also going up this way. So we're feeding molten iron foundries going down this way, and molten copper foundries this way. And all of them are getting rid of their waste stone in the middle. This one is, the copper is coming in right here and going under here, then under here, then under here, coming out here. And this molten iron waste stone is coming out on this one, which is this bottom one here. And then this far left one here is wasting its stone in the middle. And all of them are disposing it, you know, pretending that this is a lava lake so that they're just getting rid of it. But yeah, that's super cool, super tight. And now if we measure, oh, also I forgot to mention, so the molten iron comes out here instead of here. It comes out here and connects to the molten iron pipe network. And yeah, it's very, very good. We'll do a quick measurement, see what we got. Now you can see molten iron is actually positive. So we could produce more stuff. Not that we need to, but we could. Like maybe more steel or something like that. One thing I haven't considered is whether I should shove some productivity modules in here. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could. Like, productivity modules are different in the sense that you do get more for your resources, but it produces it slower. So you need a lot more machines. Like we could do the wire and get more copper wire out of it. But I'm not sure that's necessary. I might do that with science, actually. That's worth considering. Although this pipe here would run into this belt, so that might not work. I could move the entire thing over to the right pretty easily, just one square. That might actually be a good idea. That might be a good idea. Because here, let's measure this, right? I'll take a screenshot to compare. Then what we'll do is we'll throw productivity modules in that final slot, and then I'll measure it again. So what we've got is instead of making 4.8 per second like before, we're making 4.5 per second. So we're actually, by the productivity module has slowed down production slightly, but the consumption is now 576 molten copper instead of 640 what it used to be. So we're saving not quite 100 molten copper. I'm not sure if it's actually worth it. Let's measure the molten copper usage again. We are... Well, you know, I mean, we're only slightly in the negative on that, actually. So I'm not terribly worried about it, because we are, after all, making 270 per minute, which is just nuts. I don't think we're going to use that much science per minute. Probably. But yeah, this is a really, really good setup. I'm not quite done yet. I have a little bit more work to do. I have to figure out how to make the tungsten products. And I also have to work on the water for concrete. And I think at that point, this build will be done. So let's do that now. Okay, so here we go. We're making steam from these two. And that steam is going across here and getting condensed into water in these four. And that's getting pushed down into these foundries, along with the molten iron and the bricks to make concrete. And the concrete is going down here and getting... let's just sink it for now and see how that looks. Looks like yeah, 2880 per minute is not bad for concrete. 48 per second. We should probably also make some refined concrete out of it. I'm not actually sure how useful the unrefined concrete will be. I mean, we're not mass producing any of these. We're not mass producing reactors or recyclers or centrifuges or, you know, any of this stuff. It's just, we produce it, but not mass produce it. And then the refined concrete, well, to be honest, we're not mass producing any of it. But we will need it for rails, because Vulcanus needs a lot of elevated rails. And that will be super handy to be able to produce lots and lots of concrete for that. So I think it's prudent to have both refined and ordinary concrete. Let's get that going. Oh, right. All right, so this is interesting. We're going to need steel, iron rods, and water. And we're making all three of these things elsewhere in this build. So let's hook those up. Okay, okay. So what have I done? I have made an unexpected build here. I've expanded the water producer by 50%. So we've, instead of 2, we've got 3. Instead of 4, we've got 6. Because I needed the extra 180 water per second to make refined concrete. Because if I add up all the refined concrete assemblers, it's 173 water per second, which is just under that amount. Now, I'm taking the iron rods from here and splitting off a portion of them. And then way over here, I'm taking the steel output and splitting off a portion of that. And then ultimately I'm bringing them together into one belt, and we have iron rods and steel going under here and then getting split north and south to be fed into the refined concrete assemblers, which need steel and iron rods. And the tricky thing is that these assemblers need a lot of different ingredients. They need steel and iron rods and concrete in large quantities and water and the output refined concrete. So we're really maxing out the access points. We got long-headed inserters that are bringing in the steel and the iron rods, and we've got water coming in from here, but not too close because we needed room for these long-headed inserters. On the output side, we've got long-headed inserters outputting refined concrete 2 belts away, or 2 squares away from there, and then we're inputting regular concrete. So all of the concrete that's being produced by these foundries is a total of 48 per second, and that's getting sent both north and south and coming together here, going under all of this and going through a gap between 2 banks of assemblers of refined concrete. So this is getting split north and south regular concrete, and the north side is going to these 8 assemblers and the south side is going to these 8 assemblers, but then carrying on to be dealt with as just concrete further down the line, because we are not actually able to use the full 48 per second that we're producing. Instead, we are using 35. So there is leftover, and the concrete, the refined concrete that's being produced is going into this belt south from the side and then north from the side, coming together to be sent down here. So, whew, that is a lot of stuff going on, and it's pretty tight. It's pretty efficient use of space. I'm quite happy with it. I think this is going to be a good concrete build. And also these furnaces down here, if you total it up, it's using pretty much half of a green belt worth of stone to produce 26 bricks per second. And the 26 bricks per second are getting sent up here, but we're only using 16. Is that right? So, yeah, 16 per second bricks. Oh, no. It's not 26 bricks per second. It's 26 assemblers. It's making 16, just a hair over 16 bricks per second. So this is actually balanced with these. It's pretty crazy. So what I'll do next is I'm going to hook up, instead of magically making stone here, I'm going to hook up the stone output from way over here, so that we are in fact getting our stone from our output. So believe it or not, we're actually not done yet. We're actually not done. We've got to make these 2 tungsten products. There's tungsten carbide and there's tungsten plates. And they are being consumed in quantities of 500 per minute here and 345 per minute here. So let's see if we can produce those quantities of these products and see what it takes to do that. Oh, you know what? I didn't realize that. So the tungsten plates are made in the foundries with molten iron. So I'm actually going to have to handle that there. I'll do that one first, because I am making enough molten iron now to do that, but I just want to make sure I have enough space. Oh man, I'm going to need 8. I'm going to need 8 foundries making tungsten plates. Okay, all right, so we've got, I've moved things over temporarily just to make room, but I've got 8 foundries making tungsten plates, and they are consuming, oh my, 1,000 tungsten ore per minute to produce 374 tungsten plates per minute with this molten iron. And that's gonna, the 374 will be enough to feed the science, the orange science. So that's gonna feed into that. I suppose I should see what's what else we use it for. I'm not even sure. Oh, actually, you know what? I need to make a lot more of this stuff because we're going to use it to make green belts in large quantities, right? And eventually foundations, I imagine. So you know what? Yeah. Yeah, it's... And artillery shells. Yeah, we're... Okay. Never mind. I'm probably going to have to double it. Because we do make large use of tungsten plates for a lot of things. Oh dear. Well, I got an idea how to handle this. Let me work it out. Okay, so this is consuming 33.3 tungsten ore per second, which is more than a red belt. slightly more than a red belt. We're just going to have to give it lots of tungsten ore, that's all. I mean, eventually we'll kill more worms, we'll get more tungsten territory and all that stuff. And production is 12.5 tungsten plates per second, which translates to 750 per minute, which is lots more than we need for science, but we're going to need it for everything else as well, because tungsten plates is going to be a major export of Vulcanus. Well, the build keeps getting more and more insane. I've managed to line things up because it was getting a little off kilter, and so I just had to realign things. But now it's time to figure out just how much do we need of the tungsten carbide, which is 518, and also do we need that stuff for anything else, which I think we do. Yeah, because it's used to make miners, it's used to make foundries, it's used to make very fast speed modules, and it's going to be used to make quantum processors eventually. So we're going to need a shit ton of it. This isn't actually going to work. This is too much for one lane to handle. It's 39 per second. Alright, so this is a bit extreme, but I think this is producing enough tungsten carbide. It fits on the lane, and then this also fits on the lane. So I'm using the outer lane, or the outer belt, as both input and output, which is a little weird. The carbon comes on the inside lane, and then the tungsten carbide goes out on the outer lane, like that. So they don't interfere with each other. And then the tungsten ore gets both lanes, because that's going to require a rather obscene amount of tungsten ore. That's just terrible. But this is super future-proofed, I think, for late game stuff. And it's compact, so, you know, it'll be nice if I can get it to work. I just have to add it into the mix. You know what I haven't done? I haven't produced plastic yet. Like, plastic, we need 480 per minute just for this. Never mind how many we might need for things like red chips. So I'm going to have a bit more work to do than just this build before we're done with Vulcanus. Alright, so what I've done here is I've moved all the in and out points further away, except for this one. Okay, let's do that. There we go. I've moved all the in and out points of this build outside of the main area. Oh gosh, I missed another one here. Let's get that real quick. Maybe I can do it here. I'll just do it this way. There we go. So what that does, and the importance of it, is that all of these modded pieces, like, you know, inputting these infinity chests, infinity pipes, and stuff like that, that can't go in the blueprint. So I have to keep those out. And I think, well, that mostly does it. Well, hang on. I'm not quite there yet. Oh, you know what I haven't done? I haven't made the carbon. This is taking a lot longer than I thought. I'm going to have to make another episode that probably makes the carbon and the plastic and maybe some more, you know, probably rocket fuel and other things that we need to put on Vulcanus for sure. But yeah, this is a lot bigger build than I expected it to be, and it's really, really good. It's just taking a lot more work, you know? And this would have been a nightmare to do in-game. So let's wrap it up here, and we'll pick it up in the next episode. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.